It's time for Coach's Corner on KCCR AM 1240 and 98.9 FM. Coach's Corner, live from the Long Branch, is brought to you by Kruger Contracting, Avera St. Mary's, Bank West, Fording Electric, and Gales Gas. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Edward Jones Financial, Gateway Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Midwest Co-op, and Oahe Federal Credit Union. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Lamb Motor, First Dakota National Bank, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, and Wagner Auto. And now, live from the Long Branch in downtown Pierre, it's award-winning KCCR Sports Director, John Winkler.
And a good evening as we welcome you here live to the Long Branch in downtown Pierre as we will have Coach's Corner. We'll talk with Coach, we are having Coach's Corner. We're going to talk with Coach Steve Steele here in just a moment. Also talk with Coach Max Foth of the Stanley County Buffaloes, and we'll close out the night talking with Coach Brianna Kusler of the Pierre Governor boys basketball team who will play against Brookings tomorrow night. Coach Steve Steele and the Hawaii Capitals, they will take on Sioux Center both Saturday and Sunday. Both games will be on Capital City Rock and available to watch on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. We'll talk with him about that and about this last weekend's games as the season is winding down. The girls' season is wrapped up, but the boys' season will be wrapping up here in a couple of weeks. And, of course, the state tournaments for both the girls and the boys' varsity will be on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. All 22 games, both the 11 for the girls and 11 for the boys, all of them will be on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. We'll talk with Coach Steve Steele, Coach Max Foth, and Coach Brianna Kusler here tonight live for the Long Branch. You come down and join us here till 6:30 here for Coach's Corner. We will return and talk with Coach Steve Steele next. You're listening to Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch here on KCCR.
Dale and DT here for the LB.
You know, Dale, the Long Branch offers variety, live music, and drink specials to help you unwind.
True, but you have got to try one of the most diverse menus available.
Got to get in a shout out for their wings. Some of the best in town. Tuesdays, they have wing specials and a killer selection of flavors.
And now, the LB is home of KCCR's Coach's Corner. Wednesday nights up on the big stage.
Come for the food, stay for the fun. The LB, the Long Branch, 351 South Pierre Street in downtown Pierre. For 30 years, Todd's Electric Service has had the privilege of providing electrical wiring solutions for residential, commercial, and agricultural customers in central South Dakota. From small service calls to large commercial projects, Todd's Electric Service has experienced electricians for any job. Call 223-2518 to schedule your project. Todd's Electric Service is your line to power. 223-2518.
Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre still wants your trade or your spare vehicle, and we're willing to give you top dollar. And we'll throw in an additional 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Sell us your car, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you an additional 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Trade in your vehicle for a new or different one, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit GatewayFordToyota.com.
As community bankers, Bank West employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose Bank West. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. Bank West. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back here to the Long Branch, as we are joined with Coach Steve Steele of the Hawaii Capitals, as they will take on the Sioux Center Storm here this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, with the games at 6 o'clock and noon on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. Coach, good to talk to you. And, last weekend, another good weekend for the Hawaii Capitals. A lot of goals being scored again, which is good to see this team kind of feeling and seeing some secondary scoring here for the last couple of games.
Yeah, it was really good all the way around just to see everybody get on the score sheet. It was good. Our top line is still, we'd struggled in general to score some goals not too long ago. So it's good to just continue to build that confidence, again, and just keep that mental picture and feeling of putting the puck in the net. But really good contributions from all across the board and against a really good goaltender. So, we were very pleased with this last weekend.
And obviously playing Sioux Center twice here this weekend, it's going to be the one and only time you see them in the regular season. With 3 games left to play, and that's the only team you haven't seen. But this is a big matchup in terms of, the 4-5 matchup doesn't really make much of a difference. You just get the last change. It's on a neutral ice, so it's not really that, you don't get home ice advantage if you're the 4 seed over the 5 seed. However, you got to at least win one of those to try to keep Aberdeen behind you so you don't fall to the 6 seed. So this becomes a really important, and you'll probably see right now, if things don't change, you see Sioux Center in the first round of the state tournament too.
Yeah, and there a lot of things can change here in this these last 2 weeks of the season. We still technically have an outside chance at third place. Obviously we need some help from teams beating Sioux Falls 1, ourselves included. But in terms of Sioux Center, if we lose both, Sioux Center passes us. And then, Aberdeen has the ability to pass us if we don't win a game too. So, falling all the way to 6 is something we don't want to see happen, obviously from a momentum perspective, but just from a matchup perspective as well going into the state tournament. So it's a very important weekend for us here to make sure we can get something done.
And again, as we're talking here with Coach Steve Steele of the Hawaii Capitals, taking on Sioux Center both Saturday and Sunday here, and both those games can be heard on Capital City Rock. You can watch them on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. Want to talk about Ashton Grease because, one, he's your captain of the team, but he's also got the right now time for the state lead in assists. And that, means you're passing the puck really well, you're moving the puck around very well, but also it's kind of almost what a captain does is if you're not going to be the state leader in goals, you might as well be the state leader in assists because that means you are being a very good team player.
Yeah, he's had an outstanding season, just in terms of, obviously being a leader and all that, but, he's a really good hockey player, too. He's very sound on both sides of the ice, does a really good job in the defensive zone, and then, does a really good job distributing the puck, getting it out of the zone, and, playing unselfish in the offensive zone, so it's been a lot of fun to watch him. Again, we've coached him since he was in 6th grade. Maybe or 6th or 7th grade, so it's been a long time, and just seeing him progress over the course of his time that we've had him, and really see him grow up into the man he's become, and it's very cool to see how he's turned out so far, and just him owning his role as a leader of the team, and and on the ice as his position.
And another thing that's kind of tough too is playing with different guys pretty much every single year since he's been part of the JV varsity ranks. He's had different guys to play with, and that as easy as those 3 guys, and talking about to him and then Jaron Beck and Carter Sanderson, as easy as those 3 guys have made it look, it's very difficult to be as good as what those 3 have been.
It's very, very hard. Chemistry is a very important thing in hockey, especially up front on the offensive side with those 3 guys. And then defensively, your partner, there's still a lot of chemistry that goes in there. And it's a huge thing, and it's very, very hard to build. And that's one of those things where, you look back to last year, our Rafe, Elliott, and Andy line was, so much fun to watch because they had that chemistry and, they were able to build that back-to-back years. And we're looking at the same thing now, but this is year 1.
Right.
This is year 1 of these 3 guys together. And, you see a lot of the same qualities. They're all fast. They all have a good shot. They all have good passing. But they really think on the same page very, very well. They understand the space, and how to utilize space and how to manipulate everybody with their movements away from the puck. And it's just a lot of fun to watch those guys, outthink their opponent in addition to just being really good hockey players.
Sioux Center this weekend, and again, it mentioned that this is the first time you get to see Sioux Center. And at this point in the year, usually you're kind of looking back at your game a little bit and then other games. Well, you don't get a chance to look back at your game against Sioux Center. This is looking at what they've done recently. So tell us about what Sioux Center brings.
Sioux Center's, they've got a really tremendous top line. They played Aberdeen this last weekend. They beat Aberdeen 6-2 the first game, and then I think they lost 6-0 the second game, 7-0 actually, I think. And it was really, if you look at the statistics of the game, it was very evenly matched games. I mean, shots were roughly 20-20 each in both games. Basically, one team had a bad goalie one day, and the other team their goalie struggled the next day. But their top line they've got some really good wheels. Grady Duden's their left winger, and I can't remember. Vandenberg, I think, is the right winger, and those two guys have some just wheels. They get them out in transition. King is their center, and he does a really good job kind of distributing the puck to them. But I mean, if they get loose, they can really, really make you pay. But I think the struggle that Sioux Center has in the games that they've lost and struggled in is the depth. They don't have a lot of numbers. A lot of their lower lines play JV. Really, I think outside their top line, maybe one of their second line center and one of their defensemen and their goalie, they all play JV. So they just don't have the stamina, because they're expending so much energy playing back-to-back games, and then they're really young outside of that top line and their second line center.
And so now a game that obviously these two games here, and you might see them again in the state tournament. You guys, your depth also can come into play this weekend, and will come into play in the state tournament. But one of the things that could be different in the state tournament is that depth becomes even more of a factor because they're all fresh. Your depth, their depth, playing a lot of JV, playing a lot of minutes, can be a factor at the end of games in different moments. Won't be that same way in the state tournament.
Yeah, it definitely won't be. And that's something that we had last year, where we definitely had a lot more guys playing JV, outside of our top line and stuff than we did this year. And that definitely can help you when you get into those situations where there is no JV game, and you don't have to expend any energy beforehand. But those guys are usually in pretty good shape as a result of that, so that when they don't have to play a JV game, they can almost go extra hard just because they're already in better shape from it. So I mean, it's almost a double positive by the time you get to the state tournament. So, they'll be a totally different team in that sense in the state tournament because all those guys will be rested, where, this weekend they probably won't be.
Again, talking with Coach Steve Steele here of the Hawaii Capitals as your season is winding down. Just 3 games left to go, but for almost everybody but JV and varsity, the season's actually for everybody but JV and varsity. Their seasons have come to an end. The girls varsity coming up the first weekend in March, but there's some state tournaments going on this weekend. The girls 14U, then Pee Wee A and C. I guess Bantam's still playing some games too. So not everybody but JV varsity, but the Pee Wee B and C teams are playing in the state tournament. The Pee Wee B team end up in first place, undefeated regular season. They're the top seed going in the state tournament.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch all these different groups, and just kind of, we get an opportunity to work with them in the summer, and kind of work on some skill development and a lot of those things. So it's a lot of fun to follow those kids and, these teams as they go throughout the season. And we've had a lot of successful seasons, all the way around here, and, none more than the Pee Wee Bees, really outstanding season from them. I know there's a lot of excitement, that this weekend could be a double championship weekend. They already won the league, and they've got an outstanding opportunity to go down and win the tournament as well, which would be a lot of fun to see. And, I think that, they continue to play and skate the way they can and they have been, then they'll be able to bring it home.
Hey, and you can go to kccrradio.com. We've got the story of them and all the tournaments and the brackets all on our website at kccrradio.com to see that and follow along this weekend because they'll play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And, of course, hoping to play the last game on Sunday. They get to play the last game Friday. I guess they're hoping to play the last game on all 3 days to play in the state championship. And we hope that all 3 Capitals teams are playing on that final game on Sunday, playing for a state championship. But that's also going to be a lot of fun because they're the future of what the Hawaii Capitals JV varsity programs will be. Maybe not next year, and obviously they won't be next year because they're Pee Wee teams. But in the coming years, you get to see what all is coming up eventually to the JV and varsity ranks.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to see that. And, I mean, in the girls U14 teams had a very successful season. I think they're the 4 seed.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's, they're doing a really good job down there. And, in Pee Wees, there's still a lot of girls playing, it's all intermixed still. most of them don't decide one way or the other until you get into Bantams, and not that they necessarily have to or always do go over. Ashton obviously played with the boys side, but the future is very, very bright for all of them because U4 teams having a successful season. Those are girls that are going to go into the girls varsity program, and the Pee-wees have some that could, there's some that could probably continue on into Bantams and some that may want to go over to the U14. But to see this much success down at those lower levels is really exciting, for the future of Oahe hockey.
Again, talking with Coach Steve Steele here of the Hawaii Capitals. Again, they take on varsity. Boys varsity takes on Sioux Center at 6 o'clock and noon on a Saturday and Sunday. Their final 2 regular season home games, and 2 home games of the year because they will be in Sioux Falls for the state tournament and Sioux Falls to finish out the season. So the last chance to catch the boys varsity team at the Expo Center this weekend, both at 6 o'clock and noon at Saturday and Sunday. And, of course, both games will be on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. Let's talk about football a little bit. Your Matt Stafford, one of your favorites growing up, and I guess not even growing up, still as being an adult too, won a Super Bowl for the Los Angeles Rams. Almost said St. Louis Rams. For the Los Angeles Rams, but you got to be pretty happy to see your guy be able to go to a team. And now you probably hope that after you got the Super Bowl, now you probably hope that they're the worst team, so you get the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, we're very, very. It was really interesting to actually have a legitimate rooting interest in the Super Bowl. Usually it's always, you always watch it. It's always a good time and it's fun to watch, but. I don't think that I was ever really, emotionally or anything invested into the game. But this year, I really wanted Stafford to win one. I said it's just one of those things where, he'll always be a Lion, to most Lions fans. You can put a different jersey on him, but, he was a Lion and he still is. And, it was really cool to see that happen. And, so it was a really interesting feeling. But, I think I remember telling you at the station when that trade happened, I'm like, I hope he wins one Super Bowl and then retires.
Right.
Along with Aaron Donald and Sean McVay and all the rest of those guys. So then they can they can end up being the number 1 pick, and then we'll probably be bad, and hopefully we have number 1 and number 2 picks then.
You might get Aaron Donald to retire, but I don't think Stafford or McVay or Von Miller.
McVay might have a shot too. He's not committed yet to next season.
What a way to be, not even 40 years old and retire because you won a Super Bowl and decide, all right, I'm done coaching now, in your 30s.
Yeah,
and that
he can't blame him.
Right.
Yeah.
You might as well go out on top. But as a player, that makes sense. As a coach, you look at like Bruce Arians, who's coaching, and guys coach until they're 70 years old, and then they finally retire. McVay's going, I'm almost 40 years old. It might be time for me to retire.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a different ball game coaching in the NFL and winning a Super Bowl. Versus high school, so
right,
little different situation, but it's hard. You never know what their goals are. And I know it said that he's getting married this summer, so if you've got those family goals, that's probably it's not an easy situation to be in. As much as I know my wife knows that I'm very invested into football and football season.
As a high school coach.
Coach, I can't imagine going up that many levels. That you've got a whole lot of time for that. So. Ultimately, though, he's got the right to decide to do what he wants, and right. I'm assuming he's got the means to decide to do whatever he wants.
He's got the financial stability to retire and be okay before he's 40 years old. I also want to say, too, the peer community is happy that you didn't retire after the first state championship, and glad you're not retiring after your 5th state championship either. I do like the Rams players that won the Super Bowl. Aaron Donald was a St. Louis Ram. Johnny Hecker was a St. Louis Ram. So I do have, I will say, after 3 days of stewing over it and being mad that the Los Angeles Rams won, there's players in Stafford being one of those guys that I'm happy for him. Just not happy the first person that got to touch the Lombardi Trophy. I cannot repeat anything on the radio that I said in my apartment on Sunday night, but I was okay to see the other players. I wasn't okay to see him getting it, and I'm talking about Stan Kroenke, but everybody else, I was okay.
I had thought about, as soon as when I was watching and they had the trophy presentation, I had thought about texting you a picture of it.
Oh, boy.
But I refrained. I did not do it, but I was thinking about you, as he got to be the first one to hold the trophy and say that they won it.
You would not have been here on Coach's Corner tonight if you would have done that. Our friendship would have been almost at a breaking point if you would have said that to me. I'm glad you did not. Again, talking with Coach Steve Steele of the Hawaii Capitals as, again, they take on the Sioux Center Storm both Saturday and Sunday. As before we wrap things up and I'll let you go, what's it going to take to knock off the Sioux Center Storm? Not just one game. What's it going to take to sweep them here this weekend?
We've got to keep their top line off the score sheet. We talk a lot about depth of scoring, and how that's a very important thing to us, of finding ways to manufacture points and goals below our first line, and they don't really have that. They've not shown to have that so far this season. Their top line's got 95% of their goals. So, if we can shut those guys down, I have a hard time thinking that we're not going to be able to chip something in, and I said that I don't know. I think our secondary scoring at this point is in a better situation than theirs.
So, again, the Hawaii Capitals take on the Sioux Center Storm on Saturday. The coverage time will start at 5:40 on Capital City Rock. Puck drop at 6 o'clock. You can watch it on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. And then on Sunday, coverage starts in the morning, 11:40 in the morning. And then we'll have then puck drop at 12 o'clock on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. Coach, appreciate the time as always. Good luck this weekend. We'll talk before Saturday's game.
Sounds good. Thanks, John.
As head coach Steve Steele of the Hawaii Capitals, we will return and talk with Coach Max Voth of the Stanley County Buffaloes next. You're listening to Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch here on KCCR.
DT and Dale here for the Long Branch in downtown Pier. The LB is a great place to kick back, relax, and unwind.
It has been for years, and it has a fantastic menu for lunch or dinner. Love that variety.
Yeah, good point. But we would be remiss if we didn't tell you about the best wings in town.
Tuesdays at the LB, try the delicious wings. And the more you buy, the more you save. The LB, the Long Branch in downtown Pier. Now the home of KCCR's Coach's Corner, Wednesday evenings.
This winter, sip on a delicious hot cocoa and lose yourself in the grace of a fresh falling snow before you smash that hot mug on the driveway and join First Dakota to bank some noise for winter sports. Stomp for block shots, holler for match-sealing takedowns, and go berserk for a perfect dismount. Let's give the home team all we've got. Bank some noise with us at First Dakota National Bank. Open a new account online today at firstdakota.com, member FDIC.
Looking for your next new or used car, truck, or SUV? Then go no further than the comfort of your own home. Shop online at lambmotor.com. On lambmotor.com, you'll find the vehicles Lambs has in stock. You can schedule a test drive or your vehicle's next tune-up, all online. New or used, shop for it all online, anywhere you are. Lamb Motor has the right vehicle for you. Lamb Motor in Oneida and online, lambmotor.com.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240. Today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on a KCCR, joining me is Coach Max Voth of the Stanley County Buffaloes. And Coach, it is good to talk to you because I'm sure you're feeling pretty good. Maybe you've kind of calmed down maybe a little bit after last night and get back in the swing of things and practice again today. But a big win for Stanley County last night over Mobridge Pollock, 46-36. A win that puts you back into second place in the Region 6A standings. But let's go through that game here. You're defensively only a team with 36 points. That's going to help you win a lot of games. What was your biggest takeaway? What was the best thing about the Stanley County Buffaloes last night?
I think you hit the nail on the head there, man. I feel like we played really good team defense. I felt like our guys communicated really well. We were always in the right spots, and we challenged a bunch of shots. Not to say we didn't give up a few open looks, because we did, but I felt like for the most part we did a great job of contesting shots. And then the biggest thing, which has kind of bit us in the past, was I felt like we did a really nice job rebounding last night. We limited them to one shot, and that was it. And then we got the ball, and off we went. And it wasn't always pretty on the opposite end, but you know what? We did enough to win the game, and taking that defense of ours on the road was certainly helpful last night.
And Cormac Duffy, as well as Lathan Those two guys almost beat Mowbridge Pollock by themselves with points. That's how good they were offensively. You said that at times maybe wasn't the prettiest offensively, but those two guys had a pretty nice night.
Yeah, absolutely. Our team is so much better when Cormac is aggressive. You know, when he's attacking, when he's looking to create his own shot and looking to finish at the rim, it just opens everybody else up so much more. And, you know, he's really kind of found his stride these last couple games. You know, I thought that game he played against Wall, you know, I felt like that was one of his best games he's ever played for us. And he followed it up with another great game against Mowbridge. You know, I'm looking at the numbers, and you know, he goes 8 for 16 from the field. You know, anytime that you get a guard like Cormac to be able to go and finish at the rim and finish in the paint and shoot that well, you know, it's going to open up other things for other guys. You know, he can hit from about the parking lot. So, you know, anytime you can put two guys on the court like that, really change games. And of course, our other guys stepped up in spots too. But, you know, those two played really well for us last night.
And now that you've moved into that number 2 spot, obviously things are in your control here. If you go out and win the last 2 games, you don't have to worry about anything else. You're going to end up being the 2 seed, especially because Monday is a big matchup and a chance for you, 1, to get some revenge from earlier this year, but 2, beat a good team in the Lyman Raiders, and that's going to be pretty exciting to also have it at Parkview.
Yeah, you know, I would be lying to you if we didn't have that one circled. You know, it was a game that we felt like, you know, we definitely did not play our best basketball the first time around. You know, we played good enough defense, but we really struggled. And some of that's credit to Lyman. They do a great job defensively. They're a very well-coached team, and they're very talented in their own way. But we know that if we play our best basketball, which I don't think we have yet, maybe we're saving it for Monday night, but if we play our best basketball, I think we're going to be a pretty tough team to beat. So hopefully we can kind of build on some of the good things we did against Mowbridge, and then, you know, try to fix some of the walls offensively we had in those middle 2 quarters against those guys.
And you know, obviously, you're confident taking your team and facing anybody, really, pretty much in the state. You feel good about going against anybody. But a game like that, when you look back and see that the loss to Lyman was 41-28, we scored 28 points. Does it make you even more confident, saying, as good as Lyman's defense can be, our offense will just, I mean, you expect to shoot better just by the fact that you'll just shoot better in a game because you're a good team? Does it give you a little bit more confidence, saying we've got a better chance against that, beating them again, or beating them this time, than maybe a game where you played great offensively and still couldn't get a win?
Yeah, I think that's definitely key. You know, that's important. It's one of those things too that, you know, as good a team as Lyman is, we held them to 41 points. You know, it was a tremendous defensive effort in our own right to play against those guys. You know, it was, you know, they just had a little bit better, and we didn't hit some shots that we normally hit. So, you know, I feel like if we hold them to 41 again, you know, I would think that our boys are talented enough and can finish at the paint and finish at the rim well enough that hopefully we could be able to get more than 41. You know, so it's one of those things that, you know, we had it circled. We know that, you know, Lyman is a heck of a team. They do a great job. You know, they've got a nice program. But we also know that, you know, so do we. We do a nice job too. You know, our kids do a great job. They work hard. You know, they battle. They communicate defensively. You know, I look forward to be a tremendous game on Monday night, and of 2 teams trying to really, you know, play their best basketball, getting ready to go into the postseason.
And I want to go back here again to last night against the Mowbridge Pollock Tigers because what maybe is lost about it, and obviously you're going for that 2 seed. That's kind of that's probably the focus point is maybe not so much going for the 2 seed, but winning basketball games because it gives you that one of the top 2 seeds. But Mowbridge was right behind you guys in the standings going into last night, and a loss to them, all of a sudden things makes it a little bit more sketchy to even be not even the 3 seed, end up falling to the 4 seed, then having to go on the road to try and to beat a winter squad going to the Sodak 16, where again you're going to play whoever you play. You're not going to be worried about we want to try and have a matchup better. You just want to be at as high as you can in the standings. But that was a big win to kind of keep yourself from falling even far. I wouldn't say falling even farther down the standings, but just falling in the standings and letting Mowbridge pass you.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a really tough place to win. You know, Mowbridge does a great job. You know, they're a great home basketball team. their crowd really gets into it. TJ does a great job coaching his kids, and they play incredibly hard. Our wonderful bus driver, Scott Vandenhamel, had to give me the little nugget that, hey, Coach Kolb, I don't think you guys have ever won here at Mobridge since you've been coaching. And I had to think back, and no, we hadn't. We've always, every time we've beaten Mobridge, it's been at home. So it was one of those things. It was kind of nice for us to go there and to play some good basketball and to find a way to beat a good team. Mobridge does a lot of things really well, and they're well coached, and their kids play hard too. And it was fun for our kids to go there and kind of get that monkey off our back, and especially given that last season, that's where we played our final game of the year. We went up to Mobridge and we played a great half, and then we kind of hit a lull in the third quarter, and they kind of got away from us a little bit there, and that elevated them to the Sweet 16 last year. So it was good for our kids to go there and play well and find a way to win on the road.
Talking with Coach Max Foth of the Stanley County Buffaloes, who they knocked off Mobridge Pollock last night, 46-36. They're 13-5 on the season. Just 2 games remaining on the year. This coming Monday against Lyman at Parkview. That Lyman Raiders squad is a good team. They're right now sitting at 12-5. The Buffaloes at 13-5. I encourage everybody to come out to Parkview. The last couple of games that I've been able to attend, let's see, against Potter County, and then trying to look back here, I guess Harriet Selby area. Those are the last 2 games that I was able to sit back and watch you guys. The atmosphere at Parkview, especially this year, just feels even better than it has. It's always been good, but the atmosphere has just seemed even better the last couple of games, the last couple of weeks. And for the last 2 games of the season, I know that you're probably wanting that atmosphere to be as best as it possibly can going into the end of the season.
Yeah, we look at it, it's an awesome atmosphere. You're exactly right. Like, we're lucky enough to play there and to host there, and we're lucky enough to have a community that really supports basketball and really supports our kids and comes out. It's not just parents in the crowd. It's community members that are proud of Fort Pierre and proud of Stanley County and proud of what our kids have been able to accomplish this year. It's one of those things that, we had a goal at the beginning of the year. We thought that, we could be good enough to get to 15 or 16 wins this season. I felt like, that was a great goal for us to have. And here we are. We're a couple games away from that right now, and we've got 2 more games at Parkview to be able to accomplish one of those goals. And what's even more fun about that is, in theory, we would have, we'd be able to play our next 4 games at home. So if we could handle business these next 2, and then obviously with the 2 seed, we would have home court advantage leading up to the Sweet 16. So very important for our kids. We know it's a goal, and we know we're working as hard as we can to achieve that goal.
And I think we talked about it maybe last week or the week before about you don't want to step too far ahead in the future, but now that where you're sitting at in the standings, is it a little bit easier to talk about and saying, look, we got to go take care of business? We don't have to worry about anybody else. We have to worry about ourselves and go out and win, and it will take care of itself, and we'll be able to stay here in Parkview until the SODAC 16. Yeah,
that's exactly it. Our kids are smart enough, and it kind of goes back to 2 schools of thought. Some coaches don't talk about that kind of stuff, and other coaches do. And I'm of the opinion that I think it's important to be able to talk about it. That way, instead of walking on eggshells and thinking and wondering about it, letting our kids know that, hey, if we play our best basketball, we find a way to win these next 2 games, but we're going to have a chance to play on our home court again. And that's what all you want to give your seniors is another chance to be able to play at home, and like you said, in front of that great atmosphere. And like you said, I expect a packed house. We've got a very talented Lyman team. I think we're a very good team ourselves, and obviously we're not spread out that far away. So it should be a fun night on Monday night, and get there early and cheer loud.
Again, talking with Coach Max Foth here of the Stanley County Buffaloes. They take on Lyman on Monday. That's a game that starts at 6:30 for the JV, and the varsity will follow. And then the following Friday at home against Shine Eagle Butte. That's on February 25th. So about 9 days left to go in the regular season for the boys basketball season. The girls end their season tomorrow at home, and then they'll play in the region tournament next week as well. Let's shift a little bit here, and let's talk a little bit. What did you think of this Super Bowl? Was it a good in a football coach's mind? Was it a good Super Bowl? Was it fun to watch?
Man, I really enjoyed it. I felt bad for Joe Burrow at times, and holy buckets, that poor guy. Tough tough dude. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati spent a few draft picks in a row on some offensive linemen. Those guys, everybody kind of knew that was kind of a hole in their game. And like I said, even when I made the pick, I fully expected the Rams to win, but I was picking with my heart, just because the Rams had just beaten the Niners, and of course, one of the better coaches I know, Tom O'Boyle, has been a lifelong Bengals fan. So I was looking forward to hopefully sharing in that celebration with him. And it was kind of almost a storybook ending there. The Bengals pushed it up the midfield there, and I'm sitting there and I'm telling Jeff, like, how cool this would be if Joe Burrow in his second year, found a way, and then Aaron Donald got involved, and that was all she wrote. So it was a fun game. I enjoyed it, and it was nice to be able to see some people. Of course, if the Niners were in the Super Bowl, I would have been just by myself at the house. So it was good to hang out with some friends and watch the game.
I was going to say, I guess it's a good consolation to be able to hang out with some friends and not be by yourself. Overall, you probably would have taken being by yourself, but a good consolation nonetheless.
Right.
So, again, talking with Coach Max Voth of the St. Louis County Buffaloes, who will take on Lyman on Monday. Shining Eagle Butte next Friday to finish out the season. Both games will be at home and in Fort Pierre. You can go watch them at the Parkview Auditorium coming up on Monday and Friday. So, Coach, before I do let you go, let's go back to basketball here real quick, because we've already talked about the Lyman Raiders, how good they are. You guys played them earlier. We talked about that as well. But what's it going to take to knock off the Lyman Raiders this time around?
Man, I think it's going to take another tremendous effort from our defense. We've had to lean on those guys in that side of the basketball this whole season. I think we're going to have to really show up and play defensively and really be assignment sound on that end. And then offensively, we can't go through the lulls that we have in the past. Even against Mobridge, there was about a 3.5-minute stretch there where we didn't get a basket. So you can't do that against great competition. You just dig yourself too big of a hole to come out of, or you have a lead and you let teams back into the game. So we've got some things to button up on the offensive end and really focus about being more aggressive and getting some good shots in the paint. And then lastly, of course, we got to take care of the basketball. Last time we played Lyman, we didn't turn it over a ton, but we turned it over more than our season average has been. So we take care of the basketball, play some great defense, and like you said earlier, you just have to think law of averages. We're just going to hit more shots than we did last time, and hopefully that'll be enough shots to win the game.
St. Louis County Buffaloes will take on the Lyman Raiders on Monday. JV starts at 6:30, and the varsity will follow. That is all at Fort Pierre in the Parkview Auditorium. Encourage everyone to go out there and watch that game, because it should be a fun one to watch, but also just take in the atmosphere that Parkview has, and because it's always been good, but it's been even better this year in 2021-2022 for the season. Coach, I appreciate the time as always. It's always fun talking to you. I'll talk with you again Monday. It's going to be fun. I'll be out there watching that game, and should be a good one. And good luck on Monday.
Hey, thank you very much.
That is head coach Max Voth of the St. Louis County Buffaloes. We will return with more Coaches Corner after this here on a KCCR.
KCCR Pierre, AM 1240 and 98.9 FM, a Riverfront broadcasting station. Beat death. Don't cheat it.
For an excellent choice to meet, greet, or eat, be sure to head to Downtown Pier and the Long Branch. The Long Branch has plenty of room for the big groups, cozy spots for that intimate setting, and you're going to love the selections and variety on their menu. Plus, their specials are sure to please. There's a fantastic variety of libations available, and it's a great place to unwind. Now, home of KCCR Coach's Corner Wednesday nights, come on down to the LB, the Long Branch, 351 South Pier Street, downtown Pier.
It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pier area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your health care is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner. They will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
At Avera Health Plans, health insurance is more than just coverage. It's about making connections. We connect you with quality health care so you're covered when you need it. To health coaches and nurses who help meet your health goals. And to a quality network of providers, specialists, and 24/7 virtual care. Our focus is on your everyday well-being. Wherever you are along the journey, choose our health plan with connections. Connect with your agent or visit averahealthplans.com.
Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre still wants your trade or your spare vehicle, and we're willing to give you top dollar. And we'll throw in an additional 250 Pure Pride dollars. Sell us your car, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you an additional 250 Pure Pride dollars. Trade in your vehicle for a new or different one, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you 250 Pure Pride dollars. Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit GatewayFordToyota.com.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here live at the Long Branch, joining me is Coach Brianna Kusler as the Pierre Governor boys will take on the Brookings Bobcats tomorrow on the road. Coach, it's good to talk to you again, and let's talk a little bit about last Friday, because that was the last time you guys played against Bismarck, and a really good team in Bismarck, and they like to score. They didn't score, yeah, they scored 73 points, but for them, that's not a lot of points. You guys, at certain times, I think you guys played really, really good defense on them.
Yeah, I thought so too, and you know what, that Eagle Staff kid, he is phenomenal high school player, and he's going to translate well to the college game too, especially under Coach Sather. He'll work well into that system up at UND, and he's a very gifted player, and he plays very effortless, gets people involved when he needs to, and he really knows how to just get the job done when the job needs to be done. And I mean, from the outside looking in, you see 43 points and you think, oh, geez, were they even defending him? And my goodness, you have Jet Zabel on him most of the night. You have Cade Kaiser, you have Lincoln Keenholz. Talk about athletes right there, and they did a phenomenal job. That's just how dang good that kid is. And but I thought overall, the kids really executed the game plan. That's got to be, if it isn't, I never even went back and checked, but it's got to be near their season low. I know I just saw they played just the other night, and they were up in the 90s, hundreds again. And so credit our guys with the effort that they played with. We gave up a few too many offensive boards, and I think that kind of became the difference in the game there, just giving them a couple second chance opportunities. We left quite a few points out on the floor just from some bunnies and free throws, and you clean some of those things up, and you're right there. But that's competing with one of the, if not the top team in North Dakota right there, and that's something that we're really proud of.
Yeah, and I think what I took away from it too was that this Pierre Governor team, and what we've seen all season too, is that you can go and compete with anybody, and you can go and compete with anybody in North Dakota, but more importantly, you can go out and compete with anybody in South Dakota.
Yeah, and that's the confidence that these kids need to continue to bring into every game, and kind of play with the chip on their shoulder that you almost have something to prove, and not to anybody else, but to ourselves. And just, we're going to go out there, and we talk about, you want to throw that first punch, and then you want to keep going, and you don't want to let up and get complacent with at any point. And that's one thing that if we can continue to put together games like that, and then fine-tune a couple areas, like sharpen a few things up, and we're going to be sitting right where we want to come the end of the season.
And tomorrow you take on the Brookings Bobcats team. You go from one of the best teams in North Dakota to one of the teams at the bottom of the standings in South Dakota. And that is dangerous in just that statement itself, but also Brookings at 1-13. A lot of people say, well, that's just a walkover. It's not as simple as that, and if you think that, if the coaching staff, the players think that, that's not going to be how it ends up being tomorrow night.
Exactly. We talked about that in practice today. Things were getting a little lax days ago, and if we go in with a mindset that we're just going to walk all over them, like you said, that certainly will not be the case. They're going to be – it would make their year to knock off a team like this, and we don't want to give them any hope whatsoever. Again, walking in there with a little chip on your shoulder, got something to prove, and we got to get back going on the right track right now with 4 games left. But it really starts tomorrow with the tone that is set, and just coming out and playing our game. And that's, I think defensively we've been pretty solid, pretty consistent, and now it's starting to put the ball in the bucket a little bit more.
You mentioned 4 games left to play, and I don't want to say that only 3 of them are winnable, but there's more. You're not gonna lose to Roosevelt by just losing right now, but that's probably the toughest of the 4. But the other 3 games that you play are all very winnable games and could be very beneficial in the standings at the end of the season, and a chance for you for you guys to finish in a good spot, winning 3 of the last 4 games, 3 of the last 4 games at probably the worst that you want to be at. 3 of the last 4, if not be 4-0 going into the SODAC 16.
Yeah, of course nobody wants to lose. Let's win them all.
Right.
But I think 4 great opportunities to get out there and compete against some teams that are playing well right now, and that you wouldn't want to close the season with the bottom 4 teams. You want to close the season with some teams that are up there and competing hard going into that SODAC 16 game. And I think that if we're able to continue to build off of what we have been and the performance we saw up in Bismarck, and again, just sharpening up a couple of those areas, and it's the difference between 1 or 2 makes here or there and 1 or 2 stops here or there, and now 13 points. I mean, they knocked down a couple down the stretch when and began to extend. It really was a 6 to 9 point game there all through the second half. So we were right there, and that's something that our guys really should be playing with a lot of confidence in, because that it's something to be proud of. Now we want to go and finish games, though. We can't be continuing to leave those points out on the board or out on the court. We've got to make sure that we're finishing not only on the court but just the games in general.
And I think, too, right now, and as teams start to look at the standings a little bit more, coaches are looking a little bit more at the standings on who the potential matchups might be in the SODAC 16. I got to think that Pierre is one of the teams that they're going, boy, if they can move up or down a spot away from us, that's going to be better for us. Doesn't matter who else moves into that spot. I think Pierre's that team right now that's not in a home game that every team probably would like to avoid.
Yeah, and that's something that the kids should be proud of. They've earned that, but at the same time, we got to go in with just the idea that it doesn't matter who we're playing. We want to come out victorious, but we've got to take care of business these next 4 games and set ourselves up to be playing one of those games and go in with a lot of confidence. And how we perform these next 4 games will really set that up. I mean, my goodness, with the PowerPoints that the way they are, you will not know who anybody's matchups are until that last game on the last day is in there, because there's just so much fluctuation as far as the middle ground teams this year, where, I mean, in years past you've seen some that are probably up 750 and above, and they're clear cut there, or between 500 and 750. But right now we've got a lot that are teetering that 500 level, where it's their last game may be the difference between are you getting the PowerPoints for below 500, or are you getting the PowerPoints for above 500? And that's a big difference for all teams, and everybody will be in that same boat. So until that last game is in, you will have no idea. But of course the mindset stays the same.
And again, talking with Coach Brandon Kusler here of the Pierre basketball team. They take on Brookings tomorrow night. And let's go back to Brookings now. It's a team that, again, starts at right now at 1-13. They've lost 12 in a row. But what makes them a dangerous team? What have you seen on film that they can excel at and potentially exploit on other teams?
They're very guard oriented. I would say that they don't have a ton of size inside necessarily, but they're capable of getting going. They've got some athletes certainly, and we want to make sure that, in my opinion, they kind of resemble a team like a a Yankton at times where they maybe didn't have that size, but if you get going hot and shoot, we're going into their gym, and we've got to make sure that we are limiting the good looks that they're taking, and of course it's a rebounding game every single night out. We want to make sure that we're doing our job on both the crashing the offensive glass hard and then also on the defensive glass and clearing that board, and then getting out and going. But if we can limit their the possessions that they have and the quality looks that they get, I think we'll be all right.
And let's also not forget that just about every sport right now, including basketball and including other winter sports, Pierre and Brookings don't really like each other. Brookings doesn't really like Pierre. Pierre doesn't really like Brookings. It becomes a bigger game just because of the fact of who's playing in the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I think you saw that in Huron last week as well. Because of some football and some other sports as well, that you got those rivalries and that animosity that builds up outside of just the sport that you're playing currently. So I'm sure that they're going to have a good crowd ready to compete, and that's that we love that. We've got to just seize that opportunity and run with it and use that to use the energy that is brought from the crowd to our advantage.
Again, talking with Coach Brianna Kusler here of the Pierre basketball team as they, again, take on Brookings. You can listen to the game here on KCCR. You can watch it on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Coverage will start at 6:40, tip-off at 7 o'clock. Then on Friday, you don't get any breaks. You don't get any real rest. You just go right back to it on Friday against Watertown at home, the second to final home game of the season. But now, I know that you're not really talking to the kids about what Watertown is until after the game tomorrow night, but what have you seen from Watertown? They played last night, lost to Aberdeen Central, but what have you seen from them on film?
It goes back to football, too. They've got a lot of the same kids that you probably saw on the football field in the fall that play basketball here, and a lot of athletes. Similar team again to Yankton too. A lot of resemblances there that have the capabilities of getting hot, and we've got to make sure that we limit anything that they are doing around the perimeter and force them to be uncomfortable, and then expose them also with the advantage that we have inside.
All right, kind of a random question, too, but because we've talked a little bit about football, too. Do you talk to Coach Steele and get any kind of information about some of these kids that have played football, that have been good football players and played basketball? Do you go even farther away from the basketball game and talk to some of the other coaches for a little bit of some extra scouting?
I wouldn't say necessarily. We talk all the time in the hallways at school, outside of school, between Coach Lewis and Coach Steele and I. So it's, but probably not necessarily specific players, but just about everything else under the sun we seem to be we chat about. So it's great. I'm pretty fortunate to be surrounded by the coaches that I am. They've certainly taught me more than I ever could them.
Again, talking with Coach Brianna Kusler. Pierre takes on Brookings tomorrow. Home then on Friday, the last home game on a Friday night for the Pierre Governors, because you never know, you might end up having a Sodak 16 home game, which would be on a Saturday night. So it'll be the last Friday night home game. No chance of having another Friday night home game in Pierre. Right, and you talked about it just a little bit ago at the standings and how they sit. And if you go 4-0. Boy, it's going to be really hard right now mathematically to not be in that top 8.
Oh,
especially because you get a 50-point win against Roosevelt.
Man, I tell you what, I don't even want to rack my brain around that type of stuff. Now we got to stop talking numbers.
I was going to say, we'll talk about that
when the time comes.
Yeah, when the time comes, we'll talk about that. We'll bring we'll bring this moment back up if that would be the case. But here in back-to-back games, and if you make the state tournament, you got to play 3 straight games to try and win a state championship. Two games back-to-back here, but it's going to be one in Brookings, one in Watertown. What's the difficulty of that? Because I'm not trying to think now if you've had that happen before. You've had back-to-back games, but they've either been both on the road or both at home,
right.
But nothing going on the road and then coming back home. What's the difficulty in that?
There's a little bit of difficulty as far as just returning home late. I mean, we're not close to anywhere. There's no secret in that. But we adapt, and we've got to. It is what it is. There's nothing we can do about that. But I think one thing that we don't have school on Friday, so that helps. We'll be able to get up and have a shoot around that morning. Not feel like you have to get up, and if we did have school, we'd have to go at about 6:30. And after returning from about 12:30, 1 a.m., that's pretty tough turnaround there. So that's expecting a lot, and then the kids go through school all day. By Friday night, you'd be pretty tired, and I mean, coaches included. So that's definitely one thing that helps by not having school and going on the road and then at home. I think coming back home instead of being home on Thursday and then hitting the road on Friday, I certainly like this a lot better. Coming back, kids can sleep in their own bed, and then have Friday after our shoot around to be able to kind of just relax a little bit, decompress, and then get back to it on Friday night.
Well, now as a head coach instead of as a player, as the season winds down, what's the most exciting part of what's different and what's more exciting now as a coach compared to being a player about the end of the season?
You know, I think seeing all of the growth that has really happened, and that's one of the great things about we get to see these kids every single day, and it's easy to forget. I mean, especially, you know, when you're not being rewarded with the wins or the victories in the win column and stuff like that, it's easy to forget about how much growth is actually happening. But we have the great job of being able to see that and witness the confidence improving in kids throughout the season, and just their as that continues to grow, and the confidence in one another, and just the chemistry. And so now I think that's one thing that, seeing it from a coaching perspective, is it was always there as a player, but you never necessarily saw it. You were just excited to play every single time you got to play. But I think I love practices. We all love practices as coaches, because you really get to see. It might seem like it wasn't a great practice, but there's still something you can take away from it, and in that growth, the growth phase, and we still are growing, and we want to be growing, because again, we're not at the point where we want to peak yet. It's coming. It certainly is coming, and we still have a little ways to go, but that's something that I think I've appreciated from a coaching standpoint a little bit more, is that development, that the progression throughout the season, that it's easy to see some of the negative things, especially if the wins aren't happening. But that's certainly such a positive, and the kids come in with just an attitude that they want to get better every single day, and we've got the best job in the world.
Coach Brianna Kusler, the Pierre basketball team, before I let you go, what's it going to take to knock off Brookings? Actually, I'm going to double question. What's it going to take to knock off Brookings and then Watertown on Friday?
A really good team basketball. And then our team basketball is solid defensive effort and rebounding, of course, but then also we got to start putting the ball in the hole. And the goal is to score more points than the other team, and we got to start doing that. So that's the goal.
The simple answer.
Simple answer
from Coach Kusler. Coach, I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
And good luck tomorrow. We'll talk to you in the pregame show.
Thank you.
That's head coach Brianna Kusler of the Pierre boys basketball team. We'll return to wrap up Coach's Corner next here on KCCR.
Dale and DT here for the LB.
You know, Dale, the Long Branch offers variety, live music, and drink specials to help you unwind.
True, but you have got to try one of the most diverse menus available.
Got to get in a shout-out for their wings. Some of the best in town. Tuesdays, they have wing specials and a killer selection of flavors.
And now, the LB is home of KCCR's Coach's Corner. Wednesday nights up on the big stage.
Come for the food, stay for the fun. The LB, the Long Branch, 351 South Pier Street in downtown Pier.
People helping people. Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do. Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is all for propane. They offer an automatic bill plan so you never have to worry. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
For 30 years, Todd's Electric Service has had the privilege of providing electrical wiring solutions for residential, commercial, and agricultural customers in Central South Dakota. From small service calls to large commercial projects, Todd's Electric Service has experienced electricians for any job. Call 223-2518 to schedule your project. Todd's Electric Service is your line to power. 223-2518.
Wagner Auto Company is your complete transportation headquarters. You'll find a great selection of quality new Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, and Jeep vehicles, plus a great selection of quality pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles. They'll take good care of you after the sale with a full-service parts and body shop, along with a friendly financing team that'll do their best to get you into your next new or pre-owned vehicle with financing that fits your budget. Wagner Auto is your local, family-owned, full-service dealership in Pierre. WagnerAuto.com. That's WagnerAuto.com.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back to the Long Branch here on a KCCR as we wrap up another edition of Coach's Corner. Just 3 Coach's Corners shows left after tonight, but we will be back same time, same place, same location here at the Long Branch next week, Wednesday, 5:30 to 6:30 here on KCCR. Thanks to Spencer Kelly back at the station, and also thanks to Coach Steve Steele, Coach Max Foth, and Coach Brianna Kusler, as we will be back here next Wednesday, 5:30 to 6:30 here on a KCCR as we say so long from the Long Branch.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch has been brought to you by Kruger Contracting, Avera St. Mary's, Bank West, Birding Electric, Gales Gas, Edward Jones Financial, Gateway Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Midwest Co-op, and Owyhee Federal Credit Union. Coach's Corner on KCCR is also brought to you by Lamb Motor, First Dakota National Bank, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, and Wagner Auto. Join us every Wednesday evening from 5:30 to 6:30 for Coach's Corner, live at the Long Branch in Pierre or on air at KCCR or kccrradio.com. This has been a special presentation of Riverfront